The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
All right, our first post, Zach, is a Super Bowl champion show. And, you know.
Well, and we lost Andy immediately.
Yeah, he'll be back. He's there he is. He's there we are. Yeah, so anyway, first off, too, I'd like to welcome Tom O'Grady to our audience. So nice to have you along, Tom, and hopefully we'll piss you off some more. All right. So, yeah, anyway, Zach, so how you feeling today?
Pretty goddamn awesome. It's it's weird in the moment when it's happening because it's almost can't believe it's happening, and it couldn't believe how it played out to get to where it was happening, and you just react and feel and Blair, we are the champions all the way home to your apartment. Something that I've been wanting to do as a proper adult. That like the Lakers win a title and it's good, but it's not the same thing by any means.
Well, it was also in the bubble in the middle of COVID time, so
yeah, weird title, and it's just like a Lakers title is just like a birthright thing. It's not something that like.
Well, there's been about what. 19?
That's what I mean.
19 now?
That's right. What I mean. It's not something that just like, especially because I'm a Lakers fan, but I'm not like live and die every breathing moment with them. But, it really didn't hit me until, I don't know, maybe the third time through Sports Center last night, when I finally saw the "We're going to Disneyland" commercial, and I hadn't
a trip for them though.
Right, it's not a big deal. It wasn't really a big deal for the Bucks to go to Disney World last year either, but
no.
That was the first time that I had like a little emotional moment because it was like I finally had some like my girlfriend had gone to sleep. I was just sitting on the couch, kind of. I had some other things I needed to finish before today, and I just had SportsCenter on, and I was trying to take in all the tweets and reactions and locker room photos that I could, and it really kind of sunk in. Like, holy shit, the Los Angeles Rams
football club,
not the St. Louis Rams, not the Cleveland Rams.
We already got our world champion. You can see it right there. We got ours in 45, man.
The Los Angeles Los Angeles Rams won a Super Bowl in Los Angeles in our own goddamn stadium with a Los Angeles Super Bowl, Los Angeles halftime show, Los Angeles football champion. It's
cool.
Just crazy and awesome, and I kept trying to collect my thoughts over these guys, and I think the thing is it hit me how much this championship has hit me in the way that there are so many guys on this team that were so deserving and just had gone through so much and fought, and the way that even this game played out with Odell going down and Tyler Higbee being out and Kendall Blanton getting injured and
Detroit
Metal being out
going up for a bit.
Yeah, it just was like it was an incredible ride of a football team that it was something that it's hard to kind of wrap your arms around all of it because there was just so much.
Don't wrap your arms around all of it. Just let it wash over you and enjoy it.
Just let it happen, man.
Yeah.
It was. I wish I could say it was a great game, but it wasn't. It was.
I thought it was
weird.
good.
It was
Like,
entertaining. I mean, there was some bad football going on, and I'm going to give you a hot take right out of the gate here, Zach. And I don't know if you're going to like this or not. I don't think Sean McVay's a good coach. I think he's a good planner. I think he's a good whatever else he does, but game coaching, not so good at it.
Well, what do you mean?
I mean, you've talked about it more than I ever will, but he just seems to get in his head like, I'm going to establish the run game, even though I've got no indication to make me think that we could ever establish a run game.
Yeah,
I think he's a bad game manager. I don't think he's a bad coach. I don't think he's a bad game planner. But when it comes to actually executing it, I don't think he's so good at it. I think
when it comes to that specific part of it, the running game, like, yes, the Rams were not able to run the ball.
and lo and behold, when they went pass heavy on that final drive, they scored the game-winning touchdown.
Well, I think the final drive is a completely different animal, because at that point you say, "Fuck the game plan. We're going to throw the ball to Cooper Kupp again until we get into the end zone."
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and you can't do that all game. And when the Rams won the football, it's not even to like, they're not trying to be a running team. They're not. Sean McVay runs the football specifically to set up passing plays.
Yeah, but
if there's a good running game, then everything works better in that way, of course. But it really, the running game is almost a courtesy more than anything else.
I've got another Rams fan on my side here. See,
I don't even say that he won't adapt, because the problem was like the Rams, once Odell Beckham Jr. gets hurt, there is nobody out there that can catch the fucking football except for Cooper Kupp.
I was going to say,
and the Bengals know that too. The Bengals knew that until the final drive, when they decided that, we're going to just let Cooper Kupp live in single coverage.
That final touchdown pass, like not take anything away from Cooper Kupp, because this dude put this team on his back for that final drive and carried them. But like, come on, Eli Apple, you want to try? Maybe just try.
Andy, how long were you and I on the text thread last night?
I mean, most of the game.
But we were like, all of a sudden we were like, what happened to Cooper Kupp? Remember?
They phased him out. I don't know if I want to say they phased him out. The Bengals just kind of wrapped him up, or the Rams were trying to diversify. Like, both teams were really stubbornly trying to establish the run in spite of themselves.
Yeah.
And it was, I get it, because like Zach said, there were several plays where it was clear, like there was that stupid Philly special play they tried to run.
Yeah.
That was, that they clearly were trying to set up the run for that play in particular, and they blew it. And I mean, but then like there was parts of the third quarter, especially, where Stafford was trying to find his like third and fourth options and not looking great. But
because the third and fourth options at this point suck.
Well, yeah, they're not great, but
Ben
Greg and I were both
Skoranek, congratulations, you're a world champion. You will not be on this fucking football team next year.
Or as Bill Simmons calls him, not Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, right.
White guy number
the other
4.
white guy on the team.
Another white guy, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that McVay's a bad coach. I think that it might behoove him to let the offensive coordinator call the plays, is what I'm saying. I just think that sometimes you've said it yourself. He gets into his own head and he tries to outsmart himself. And there seemed to be times last night where I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. And he certainly did that more than enough times during the regular season. And that's why this game was a little frustrating too, because it's like the game the Rams played yesterday, they've played that exact fucking game like 4 or 5 times this season.
Right. Yeah.
Like to a T in terms of game flow and the ups and downs and the whole thing. But I during the regular season, I excuse it a little bit, because it's okay. McVay is trying to figure out stuff. And when we've gotten to the playoffs, they've tried to figure out some stuff here and there, and they've tried things, but at the end of games when they needed to, whether it was against the Bucks, the Niners, and the Bengals in succession, they figured out what they needed to do to win the game. And the offense would be completely different if it was healthy. Like if this team had, like if Odell Beckham Jr. gets hurt, but they still have Tyler Higbee or Robert Woods, Completely different game because you're not worried about, God, is Ben Skoron going to be able to catch the football? Can we use Bryson Hopkins in the passing game?
Well,
Like,
I will say this. I think if you had just to, because this is the running back that I know, put Nick Chubb in that backfield, and this team is going to be 15-2 next year, all things being equal. If OBJ comes back and everything, but I don't know that you have the running backs, I guess is my point, to do what he's trying to do.
Maybe if Cam Akers had been healthy, if Cam Akers had been healthy all season and he had been like fully engaged in the run game, maybe it's different. But yeah, I think to how this team played when it went to the Super Bowl the first time with Todd Gurley, when Todd Gurley was still Todd Gurley, like he was, good. And that team blew out teams every fucking week because like Todd Gurley was more than effective as a running back, like explosive. And that opened up so many more passing options that even Jared Goff looked like, a potential Super Bowl winner up until, the Super Bowl itself and all this stuff about Todd Gurley's knee. And then that persisted into the next year and it was a mess.
Hey, you think the Rams would trade OBJ back to the Browns if we gave you D'Ernest Johnson?
Well, OBJ, OBJ is going to be...
You want OBJ at this point, Greg?
No, I know that everybody's like, they're so happy for Stafford, but Browns fans are pissed about OBJ. I don't think we are. I'm happy for him. I think it's great. I think it sucks that he blew his knee out, especially with. I think he's in a contract year too, isn't he?
He's a free agent. That's the Rams wanted to re-sign him, but I don't think they can now.
Nope. Yeah, that stuff. But no, just real quick on OBJ, and I think I've got the receipts from the show, this very show, to prove it. I never thought he was a good match for the Browns from day one. It's just OBJ is not a guy that's going to do well in a small market like Cleveland. He needs to be in LA or New York. He needs to be with an offense that knows how to utilize him. And the Browns are a run-heavy, play-action, find the tight end over the middle offense. It was never, ever going to work. So I have no ill will towards Odell Beckham Jr. at all. I'm glad for him.
In 8 games with the Rams, he had as many touchdown catches as he had his entire Browns tenure, which is wild.
Well, didn't you think about it too, though, of those throws that Baker Mayfield threw him? Like if maybe like half of them didn't end up in the stands, you never know where he might have ended up.
And what Dennis is hitting on too, the Rams run game at a certain point just becomes screen passes, and that's where you're getting Darrell Henderson on the outside, or they used to do a lot of wide receiver screens, but clearly, the Bengals were doing a good enough job to limit Cooper Kupp for the majority of the game, and once the Rams didn't really have solid second options, there were some catches here and there, but that entire third quarter was a mess. And
and then I'm not taking a thing away from the Rams. I think they were the better team. I think that was obvious, and I think that I think we all brought this up for the last 2 weeks, that the key to this game was going to be Cincinnati's ability to stop that defensive line, and they couldn't do it. And they really couldn't do it when it really mattered the most.
Well, they did in the first half.
Yeah, but
right,
but they weren't going to. That's the thing, though. It's like watching two college teams where you've got like Alabama playing, I don't know, Mississippi State, and for the first half, State can hang with them. Then the depth becomes a problem.
Well,
the out becomes a problem.
The problem. It took a bit longer than I thought it would, but it eventually came up where I think the Bengals O-line cost them the game because there were periods late in the third, early in the fourth where the Bengals had the lead, and it looks like the way this game's going. If Burrows can get into the end zone one more time, this is it.
Yep.
And they had 2 or 3 decent shots to do that while the Rams were still kind of sputtering, and every single time, the drives essentially failed because Burrows was getting too much pressure. He wasn't able to make the plays he needed to make. And I thought that was going to be the case all game. It turned out to really only be the case in the second half. But that Bengals, I dare say that if everything else is equal, if the Bengals have even a mediocre O-line, there's a good chance they win that game.
Yeah, and particularly in the fourth quarter. As much as Cooper Kupp, well deserving of the MVP for that final drive alone, I I was more convinced that they were going to give it to Aaron Donald, because if it's not for what Aaron Donald does, particularly in the fourth quarter and especially on the last like 2 or 3 drives, the Rams don't win that game because the defense did enough. The defense did its job in spades and more to make sure that this game did not get away from the Rams. Give the offense enough time to figure itself out and get the lead. And they did that. And not only does Aaron Donald do that, after he shoves Joe Burrow out of bounds and the Bengals get mad at him, and it's like, oh, good, you pissed Aaron Donald off. Guess what he's going to do? Eat your face.
Well, here's a question with him and
then he sealed the game
with the MVP thing. And I know, and this is a long time ago, and this was not the Super Bowl, so I don't know how this works, but I know that like when I would be covering a game, like they would send around like, who do you think the player of the game is, whatever MVP, but depending on the sport, we'd get it with like in basketball, it was a couple minutes to go in the game. Well, there's a lot that can happen in 2 minutes, and in football, we didn't have a 2-minute warning in college. It was basically with 2 minutes to go in the game. You got the like, okay, who you voting for,
right? But even that's weird because
But here's my question though:
Cup had like 3 more catches and the touchdown after the 2-minute warning. So
and then Donald had like the huge plays after that too. So you got to wonder. But
I think most of Donald's plays came before, because the Rams were driving from like 4.5 minutes down to the 30-second mark.
Yeah, but what I'm saying was the plays he made on that last Bengals drive, the last 2 plays of the game in particular, that might have swung it. I mean, look, that's we're really getting deep into the weeds with this, but
I honestly don't think it's that big of a deal, considering that Cup is deserving in his own right of it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So,
it's not.
I mean, arguably, you could make a case for Aaron Donald, absolutely, but I don't think anyone's crying over Cooper Kupp getting it. That's what he deserved.
Especially because with that award, I don't know if you can argue. I mean, I'm sure you could. We can do a whole Joe Montana, Jerry Rice thing of it. I don't know if there's been a single wide receiver season better than the one Cooper Kupp put together this year. He over the course of an entire season and playoffs, he had the most yards by a good margin, the most catches by I think a little bit of a margin. He's the only other wide receiver in NFL history to be offensive player of the year, get the triple crown in a receiving year, which is catches, touches, yards, and get the Super Bowl MVP, was Jerry Rice. And Jerry Rice did that over the course of a career. Cooper Kupp did that in 21 games.
What about the Randy Moss Patriots undefeated season?
I think the fact that they didn't win the Super Bowl kind of holds them back from that.
I'm just mean in terms of just like subjective dominance and whatnot. But I don't know. I don't particularly care. I mean, it's cool,
right? Yeah. Go ahead.
The Super Bowl MVP just is immaterial to me. That's just a nice decoration for one of the guys to have.
Do they still get a truck or a car or anything with that like they used to?
I didn't see anything.
See, if you don't get a car, fuck it. What's the point? I mean, so it's a trophy, big deal. You're going to get a really nice big ring that's going to be worth like $65,000. I don't care about the trophy.
I'm sure you get some sort of bonus money wise.
Yeah.
I kind of want to discuss the other side of this, and that's the Bengals.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of discourse about the Bengals. They had the easiest road to get to the Super Bowl. They had a weird twists of fate that got them to this area, and then they were just lucky to participate. And I think it's weird because there's still confetti on the turf up in LA, and yet people are like, "Oh, the Bengals, it was just a joke."
I don't think you can say they were just lucky to be there, considering that
they nearly won the damn game.
They pushed the Rams to the end.
This was not a blowout by any stretch. Like, LA only retook the lead to win it in like the final minute 30. So the Bengals played a good game, and the Bengals very easily could have won this game. So I don't think it's fair to say they were just lucky to be there.
Right.
I would say that the analytics, if you want to do the analytics thing, you could look at their run in the playoffs and say, could they repeat that next year? The odds are probably not, because they won 3 close games.
I mean,
but I'm not. I was calling. I'm like, hey, these, even during the season, like, I think these guys might be good. I'm not sure. And then when they got in the playoffs, I mean, I rode them all the way. I thought they'd win yesterday too, but that's not a whatever.
It's not a matter of like. As somebody who knows what it's like to have their team, a very, very good Bears team, lose in the Super Bowl, this Bengals team was excellent. They were not over or underrated. I feel like they were
100%.
a damn good team.
Yeah.
But however, the thing that I think has really ruined it in terms of like, calling a spade is we got to talk about the officiating, namely in the second half, that Higbee touchdown with the Jalen Ramsey no call, which was absolutely inexcusable. I don't know how the hell they get away with that.
I assume that they thought he fell down or got tripped up, but yeah.
Well, so here's the thing with that. This is the Super Bowl is the most.
You're right.
It's the most documented game in sports the entire year, and for whatever reason, the NFL doesn't have any sort of like, league office can't call in and say, hey, you guys missed this.
Well, they tried. They did that thing where for a year you could challenge pass interference and you could, ask them to look at it again, but they gave up on that. So there was a brief period where you could have done that.
But I mean, that's limiting it to pass interference. I mean,
well, no, I think you could. Am I mistaken, or like if that rule was still in place, could the Rams have requested a challenge on that, saying?
Sure.
Right, they could have said it was offensive pass interference.
Yeah, they could have. Yeah.
Or face masking, take your pick.
Right. I mean, they're essentially, but either way, that should not have been a touchdown for the Bengals.
No.
But the thing is, when you see something like that, for a fact that later in the game there's going to be some sort of random, like, I don't want to say bullshit call, but like a very ticky-tack call. Right. But the thing is, it's different to get a touchdown no call in the third quarter and then the makeup call, in my opinion, was given to the Rams like late, that game-winning touchdown drive late in the fourth quarter to where they finally took the lead. They gave them a couple of pretty damn close pass interference penalties that gave the Rams multiple bites of the apple in the end zone. I'm not trying to say the Rams didn't earn it.
It wasn't. No, there was only the one. There was the holding right there, and then the other play was the touchdown got negated because the Rams false started or no, they held.
And there was a pass interference.
There was a pass interference.
There was a pass interference because I remember it got knocked at, like Stafford went for the end zone. It got knocked down by a Bengals defender, and it was going to be 4th and goal. And then the refs called a pass interference on that Bengals defender and set it up 1st and goal again. And then
like 7 down.
Yeah, and then what happened.
And again, I don't want to say, boy, the Bengals got robbed or whatever, because it's like, it's just turnabout, it's fair play. But the thing is, like, we can't be doing this anymore. It's professional football. You have.
I remember the pass interference. The pass interference was actually pass interference, though. The holding is the one that's the ticky tack one.
Well, the
55, the linebacker one, is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, that was
My point is that you can't leave this open to debate. I mean, you can in the regular season. I even then, I guess, but like there are too many cameras now to where it's almost like the strike zone in baseball, but worse, because I know that football is hell to officiate. It is a very difficult thing to call on the fly. It is fast. You can't see everything. Means calling the action, but like when a fucking face mask, when a guy's helmet is turned sideways and he falls down and you have like 30 slow motion camera replays of it happening, somebody needs to step up and say, hey, we can't let this one stand. Come the fuck on. Stop the goddamn game and give him 15 yards.
The thing that I had with the officiating was that for 58 minutes, it seemed like they were just like uninterested in calling anything.
Right.
Like there was a few calls in the beginning at the start of the game, but most of them were things they had to call, like the unsportsmanlike with the guy running off the bench.
Oh, I want to talk about
there was a delay of game penalty, I think.
Delay of game, yeah. So it was like, or was that it? Yeah,
I think that was all.
There were 2 penalties, I think, on each team before all the flags started
right. So that's what I mean. And for 58 minutes, the refs just seemed like they didn't want to call anything unless they were literally forced to,
right?
Including on the touchdown.
Yep.
Now, I would argue that maybe they probably should have been forced because that was pretty blatant, but whatever. But then like there's the fight with Aaron Donald that no flag gets thrown, like not even offsetting, just nothing. And then you get down to the end, and that's when you call penalties on 3 consecutive plays.
Well, see,
even if the tables were turned, I know I would be furious because it's like you decided that you weren't going to insert yourselves at all at any point because you didn't want to be the ones with caught red-handed or with a smoking gun or whatever the hell you want to call it. And then at the end of the game, at the most important point, the time when, if anything, you should swallow your whistles is when you're calling everything. It bothered me as the guy on the winning side of it. I couldn't imagine how a Bengals fan is feeling today.
It taints it a little bit, as the winner, it's like, I want this to be unquestioned. I want this to be pristine, clean, spade equals spade. The better team won, blah, blah, blah. But when you have officiating muddy the waters, it sullies it a tiny bit. But I don't know. I know that
on the calls in particular, like the hold, the ticky tack hold, is he grabbing his jersey? Yeah,
that's
but
like
you can let that go.
Well,
but the pass interference was actually pass interference. Like Eli Apple just grabbed Cooper Kupp and was like, no, you're not catching
Eli Apple.
We've been saying it for years. People have been saying it for years that you can call holding on every single play in the NFL if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I want to give him some credit. He didn't play a great game, but he nailed the Ohio State University in the player introductions. Fucker absolutely did it perfectly. That's how you say it, folks. But yeah, no, it's I think that my thing with it, and again, I guess I'm not going to argue any of the calls, but it's a bad look to swallow your whistles, and all of a sudden, when you got a team driving down to win the Super Bowl, flags start flying in every fucking direction. Yeah. It's just and you don't just see it in the Super Bowl. I mean, my God. Every week in the NFL, if you watch enough games, you will see this happen. A team will be driving, and all of a sudden it's like the officials. And again, I'm not saying this is what they're doing. I'm not saying it's fixed. I'm saying if it were fixed, it would look exactly like this. It's like all of a sudden it's a flag here, flag there, flag here, flag there. It's like, come on.
It's like out of nowhere they remembered. Oh shit! Right, we're doing this. We're officiating this game. It's like,
do we get paid for the number of flags we throw? Because all of a sudden it's like, fuck, we got to make some money real quick here.
They seem for the large majority of the game, they seem very happy to just be watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, okay. But if you're going to do that, then don't call anything at the end. But if you're not going to call anything for 58 minutes, it's the same thing that, Mike, we talked about it kind of sort of in reverse in hockey, right? Where there's referees that call everything for like the first 2.5 periods, and then all of a sudden it's a 1-goal game with 5 minutes left. They say, no, everything goes.
And they decide, okay, boys are going to let you play, and it's
like it's like a game 7 or an elimination game where it's like third period. Fuck it, we're following these whistles. We might as well not even bring them out on the ice because we're not going to use them.
You'll get like 7 power plays throughout the majority of a game, and then at the end it's like, no, you can stab them. It's fine.
Yeah, legitimately, the third period of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, they just need a robot to do face-offs, and that's it.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Because the rules come down to like basically don't use too high a caliber of gun to shoot someone. That's all we're asking.
Speaking of hockey, we've talked about this phenomenon before. We talked about it on the show where they caught audio of an NHL ref going like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get Nashville back," right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole idea of like a makeup call. It's not exclusive to the NFL. It's
baseball does it. I'm sure the NBA does it. Hockey, we've seen the
NBA just flat out fixes games. So,
but like to Andy's point about like you were expecting the makeup call to show up, I was too. And then at a certain point when it hadn't arrived yet, I said, "Oh, I guess they're just not going to do anything about it." And then all the flags came at the end, and I said, "This is not the time."
I was expecting. I was fully prepared to come on this show tonight and say that non-call was a makeup call for that NFC title game against the Saints. Like it's like,
right.
But it's the thing about it. Why it doesn't bother me too much, and I do get the argument. I do get like. I wouldn't say it taints it, but like it does provide a little bit of controversy that obviously you don't want to have in the Super Bowl. The reason why I'm okay with it is because that Bengals touchdown was such an egregious case of offensive pass interference that like at the end of the day, obviously, if you're going to make it up to the Rams, you maybe don't do it in the last 2 minutes of the game during a potential game-winning drive. But
do it at the end of the third quarter or something.
Even just not have 3 or 4 flags right in a row. I'm still trying to figure out how in the world all you've got to do is hold on offense, and the defensive guy can just fucking wipe your guy out, helmet to helmet, and well, that's fine. We'll just call it offsetting.
That one I never get either.
Yeah,
like.
Like if I'm a defensive player and I see a
15-yard penalty should not just wipe out a 5-yard penalty. It's just not how it works.
If I'm a defensive player, like let's just take like Cooper Kupp for example. Okay, who's the guy who got hit? If I'm a defensive player, and you have to probably be thinking a little bit to do this, but if I see a holding flag in the backfield, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking level somebody here because I know that it's just going to be offsetting. And I don't know that I understand if it's like, okay, pass interference, holding, all right, those offset. But holding and we're going to take a motherfucker's head off should not offset. There should be still a penalty for helmet to helmet and all that. I don't get that at all.
Here's my question then. I guess I'll direct it towards Andy because you brought it up. And this was a discussion at my Super Bowl viewing party. Should we allow challenges for penalties again? Because I personally don't think we should, because to me it just opens up a Pandora's box of, because what's going to happen is kind of what, again, not to cross sports again, but what you see in hockey where, a blatant offsides should be reviewed on goals. But now all we're doing is looking, is his skate an inch off the ice? I can't really tell by this angle. Are we going to go? You can't just. I just fear that if you do this, you're opening a Pandora's box for all the minutiae in the world to be challenged, and that's just not worth it.
It created a situation where our good friend Admiral said, in the NHL, we have to Zapruder film every zone entry.
Yeah. Or worse yet, the NFL becomes baseball, where it just becomes a slog that you can't get through. So go ahead,
I don't think there should be the extent of challenges. Basically, I feel like there should be an official designated from watching the fucking game, and basically if there's something egregious that is clearly a game-changing big misplay or a bad penalty, you just get a phone call and they say, we have a stop and play phone call. Okay, so we have to redact that. So 1st and 10, this team at the whatever yard line. It doesn't need to be this constant barrage. Basically, it can be a subjective thing from the league that is not as intrusive as you don't want to give any sort of strategic options to coaches because they're going to exploit the shit out of it and they're going to abuse it.
Right.
But to be fair though, to the league and the officials and everything from last night, the Bengals did cover the spread. So whatever they wanted to do.
Well, that was thanks to the missed extra point ultimately. Some people are mentioning a sky judge, and I think that's similar to what they use in international soccer with VAR, which is VAR has its proponents and detractors for various different reasons, but because there's only one referee, right, and he can only see so much, the idea is sometimes the referee is going to miss a call, or maybe sometimes the referee is going to make a call and it's going to be wrong. But if there's a major foul that occurs that could potentially result in a penalty kick, there's a video referee that is watching it, and then they will buzz down to the actual referee and be like, "Hey, man, you should look at this again because you may have missed it." And then the referee can look at it. That goes over to the sideline and looks at it on a screen, and they can decide whether they did miss it or if they stand by their call and do it like that. But it's used sparingly, but it's for major fouls. Stuff
who has that or who had that? One XFL had that.
Did you see the XFL commissioner invade the Super Bowl last night? I don't know what that was about.
That's it. I mean, look, The Rock's cool and all that, but Jesus Christ, dude, make your point and get the fuck out the field.
The team was lining up for the kick, and it's guy, get off the field.
Right, dude.
I would have liked it more if he actually just did what Zach said, just ran out and was like, "On the Rock, watch the XFL 2023. I'm out. Bye."
I want to go back to Andy. We always text during the games. I'm sure everybody that listens knows this, but I forget, it was one of the playoff games, maybe championship weekend or the week before, where there was what looked like a real nasty hit. And you and I both saw the replay, and it was like, that's a clean hit. And we spotted it right away. So I think, to go to your point, having someone that's basically just the guy, or maybe two guys, watching the game and going, okay, we're going to look at the replay. Nope, clean hit. You just buzz and go, that's clean. Don't even bother.
It took no time at all either. That decision came real fast.
Right, exactly. So I don't see what be so hard about that. Yeah.
Plus, like Michael Walker points out, I mean, the XFL another weird decision that the XFL they make some good choices sometimes, and it really could positively affect the play.
The XFL not entirely talk it out of its ass. They have a good idea every couple of decades.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think that we should give too much attention to the officiating because it's a unfinished problem that we can't resolve and won't resolve for maybe ever. But I don't want to also take away from talking about the success of the Rams. It's a big day for you, Zach. I mean, again, how many championships have your teams won since the show has begun? So the last 10 years or so.
Since the show began, just the
Lakers and the
Lakers and the Rams, yeah.
I guess, yeah, because the Angels were 07.
Angels were 2002. Ducks were 2007.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The Colts, if you want to include that in my menagerie, was the 06 season, the 07 Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think Andy, you've got the most trophies in the Bass Trophy case actually at this point, like 3 Stanley Cups.
For all those tainted Blackhawks cups. So
my Chicago Rape Hawks, they were real.
Who really they've responded great since you left them, Andy. They've been very good.
The Blackhawks owner, see what he's got to say about the situation.
I mean, I don't want to deviate too far from the Super Bowl, but like, God damn, what a fucking mess. People can give me shit about how bad the fucking Kraken are, but like, I will root for a last place
clean at least.
Yeah, I can sleep at night because I don't have Rocky Wirtz up there like it's none of your business. We raped Cow Beach a few times. We didn't want to talk. It's none of your business.
Yeah, we're not talking about that anymore. It's like the fuck, really?
The fuck, we're not. This you fucking asshole! Like this wasn't.
It's like the question wasn't even about that. It's what you're doing moving forward. But
it's like plus it was at like an investors meeting, and it was like the long time like Mark Lazarus who'd covered the Blackhawks for like 10 plus years,
it's a town hall where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a PR thing. You're supposed to look good, and you're
supposed to have an answer for this canned. Like we have taken precautions to ensure.
It sounded like his son. Danny Wirtz was going to say something, and then Rocky's like, "No, you are not talking about this." It's like
it was weird because Lazarus, the reporter who asked the question, was like, "I thought it was a softball question. I was trying to lob something up for him to get some good PR, some good print," and he's like, "Fuck that! I'm going to tank myself. Watch this. Watch this. I'm gonna fucking shit the bed up here in front of everybody.
YOLO."
It's just a goddamn shame. I don't know. We can talk about this more when we run out of stuff to talk about in a few weeks when sports dry up and all we have left is hockey in the NBA and no baseball because God knows what's going on there.
I heard they were very optimistic, and then I heard they canceled spring training like the next day. So
I heard the owners were like, "No, minor league players shouldn't get paid for spring training. You get paid in experience, essentially." And it's like,
oh, that's always because
that's always fun to hear.
Yes, all that experience as a professional baseball player will help you get a job as a professional baseball player somewhere other than professional baseball. Fuck that. This you know what? Who was I? Was it on the boards? I don't remember. I was talking to somebody, and it was just like, I think it was the Admiral. And we were talking, he's made a couple of posts. Him and 56 from the boards made 2 posts. And I said, Jesus Christ, these guys just summed up exactly how I feel about baseball. Admiral was like, we need to get rid of all these like Ivy Leaguers in the front office, how he is. And 56 is like, I just don't care anymore. And I'm like, that's me with baseball. I just don't give a shit. Whatever. I'll go to minor league games.
I will say this. In terms of just pure buffoonery, no collective ownership group can top the NHL.
Right.
But when it comes to good old fashioned like greed, baseball still takes the cake.
Yeah, but anyway, back to the football. It was a Super Bowl.
I mean, the halftime show kicked ass. I was delighted.
I thought it was awesome. Yeah, it was not. I was not the demo they were shooting for with that, but I thought it was
no, I'm not the demo. I said to a friend of mine, I think we're too white to watch this halftime show. Let's.
And I'm sorry, but Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg are impossibly fucking cool. There's just those dudes could fall down a flight of stairs and it'll be like, fuck, I want to do that.
Well, I mean,
Dre and Snoop Dogg looked great. 50 Cent, man, What happened?
Looked like a whole dollar bill.
Hanging upside down.
I heard.
How long was he hanging upside down for?
Like
Just
a
about
bat.
10
He's probably there for
seconds.
hours. Yeah.
Well, yeah. When the song actually started, he was only there for like 10 or 15 seconds. But it was funny too because his chain was backwards. It said "02," which I thought was funny.
I wasn't
at that point.
I heard full dollar. I heard titty cent. I heard $5 for 500 cents. And my favorite was 50 pounds with the British pound symbol.
Wow.
I mean, I think that it was one of those things where like it's in the moment it's like, haha, yeah, this is for us, and then you think about it, it's like, well, maybe the Who was for us, for the different demographic, all those years ago when they were trotting out the Stones and all these ancient ass bands who were somehow still alive.
I mean, when it comes to the halftime show, the old adage is really true. You're never going to please everyone. So maybe if you just aim for different demographics each year, you'll just collectively make everyone happy overall.
I think that this would probably
children who are wrong.
If you want to make a comparison here, this was for guys your age. This was like U2 playing for people my age.
I mean, it's no Up with Children or whatever.
Up with people.
Up with people. Yeah.
I still think we should bring those fuckers back just one time, just for the comedy of it. Come on, one time, give me Up with People. In this day and age of Super Bowl halftime shows, like you said, this was not aimed at my demo at all, and I thought it was cooler than shit.
Well, I will say, like, I saw some people bashing Eminem for basically just doing the 8 Mile song, but like, it's a good song. People like it. What do you want?
They played the hits. I mean,
isn't it time to come out there and do like the deep cuts? Come on, I mean,
it's halftime show. You pop the crowd.
I was listening to a bunch of the various artist music over the last few days to like pump myself up for the game. And so I was thinking, okay, well, what Eminem Dre song could they do? And it's like, well, all of Eminem's songs with Dre like don't really work for this format. Like he couldn't do Guilty Conscience because that'd just be a mess. And then forgot about Dre. I don't think that has the resonance with people that they want for this sort of show.
They played a little bit of it.
What I thought they were going to do, I thought they were going to do like the majority of the show, and then he was going to come in and be like, oh, this halftime show ain't nothing without me, and then do without me. But Lose Yourself does the job just as well. Good,
on
good
our
show.
prop bet, who was the first one to come out? It was Dre, right?
Dre.
Yeah,
Dre, and I guessed the first song correctly.
Did you?
Yeah, next episode.
So Dre was first, and then Snoop, and then we went to 50 Cent, right?
Worked in some lyrics and gestures that the NFL didn't want, which was just...
It was kind of like what I said it was going to be. It was like we're going to have the two big names come out to get it started. Then we're going to go to like a lower ticket act and 50 Cent, and then we're going to kind of bring in...
don't be mean to 50 Cent like that.
I'm not. I'm just saying that, if he's not at the same level, let's be honest about it, as those two.
I mean, my only thing is I think I would take out 50 Cent from this. Yeah. And I would have given more airtime to Kendrick Lamar, who's I know I read the text and I know that you're not a fan, Andy, but Kendrick's a genius. No, that's not what he does all the time though.
Rabbit, what is
I don't get rap these days if their bird noises.
Nothing
Kendrick is a genius, and I won't hear this slander.
4 white guys ranging in age from 30 to their late 50s talking about rap. This is great.
No, this is a proper podcast now, Greg. We reached the zenith.
No, I thought it was cool. That's the thing though. I mean, like certain people on the boards who I won't name like to call me a boomer, but I'm kind of like I'm right on I'm like everything in my life, I'm right in the middle. I'm like kind of like leaning towards the beginning of Gen X. So I don't know, but I thought it was cool. I know that there's probably people that are my age that are going, oh my God, all these black people and what's happening to them. Who was that fucked stick that you sent a tweet from yesterday, Andy?
I don't know.
Kirk,
Charlie Kirk, right. That America's going to hell in a handbasket. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, he was like, this shouldn't be allowed to be shown on TV. It's like, what? Like, in terms of the artists involved, this was pretty fucking tame. So,
Well,
Yeah.
guys, Snoop Dogg got caught smoking weed before he took
The only thing that I'm surprised by
Snoop Dogg smoked weed before. God damn it!
That's why
Not only did he smoke weed, he smoked weed where it's legal.
well, and not only that, but they're like he smoked weed before the show. It's like he smokes weed before fucking everything. I don't see the issue here. You know,
He goes to bed.
One of the songs that he and
didn't-
Dre do together. You know how the song ends? Smoke weed every day. For God's sakes, come on.
it's like you're surprised that Snoop Dogg smoked weed. It's like, are you surprised that the sun comes up? Are you surprised?
It would be more shocking if it turned out he was stone cold sober the whole day.
That's the story. If you're gonna
Yeah.
do that, you know, Snoop did not smoke weed. Everybody's like, wait, what? He didn't?
Snoop's like, I spent the whole day eating, a vegetable platter and drinking Diet Coke, and then
Yeah, and everybody's like, okay, that's the real story here. But I thought it was cool. I enjoyed it, and I liked it a lot better than that. I forget what last year's show even was.
The Weekend last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
nah.
it's the thing though. This even though I'm not the biggest like rap or hip hop fan, this was old school enough. Where I'm like, I'm digging this. Got Dre, got Snoop, Eminem. I'm like, this is good. Whereas I don't know that I would have felt the same way if you like Kendrick Lamar. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I don't even know what a Kendrick Lamar is. So
Yeah, no, it spanned enough demographics age wise to be very appealing for a genre, or just a style. Not even like it's because this isn't just hip hop. This isn't The Weeknd. This isn't Bruno Mars. This is a more harsher form of the art, and
So?
no, that's what I mean. Like it was still that kind of tougher side of rap and hip hop, but it was like between Dre, Snoop, like as the older guard, and even Mary J. Blige to an extent, and then you get Eminem, and then 50 Cent after that, and then Kendrick. Like that's spanning 30-40 years of rap.
Yeah.
I will
Hip-hop.
say,
That's crazy.
not to take anything away from Snoop and Dre, but I did get a chuckle out of seeing a comment online when they were coming out, and it's like, oh, it's Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre's dads.
That's funny.
It's
Yeah, I just I want to see. Well, Zach, I think you talked about it when it happened last week. Ice Cube at the NASCAR race.
Yeah.
Which is, I know what you think, but believe me, that went over better than you thought it did. I promise you. And I thought that was cool as shit. I want to see, but like,
the visuals that I saw when they were panning across the crowd of like dudes with no shirt and overalls trying to bang out to Ice Cube. I'm like, yeah, all right.
It was cool.
This is the crowd for him.
There's a lot of I'll send it to you in our text thread. It's the whole thing of like it shows who's performing at the Super Bowl halftime show, all these rappers and stuff, and then there's like a bunch of white dudes in sunglasses in their car selfies, and it's like I won't be watching. Just like clearly the
Right.
white.
Yeah.
This shithead demographic who are just like, hey, I ain't going to do
Why
even
would
acknowledge
but
it.
you see, okay, look, I don't. First off, why would you not watch? What would the reason? Give me the reason why you wouldn't watch.
Black. They're so black.
Okay, all right. So let's
All black
use
and black.
We're
Eminem.
losing this country, Greg. Don't you see it
Let's use Eminem and I
on
don't
the
know
wall?
the other four white rappers. Same kind of content, right? Basically, I just understand it. Yeah, but so you won't watch Dre or Snoop or 50 Cent or Kendrick Lamar because they're black. But you got no problem with, I don't know, Prince, Michael Jackson. I mean, what the fuck's the difference here? Other than maybe I don't understand.
I mean, they probably all have the same problems with all of them. If it's not, the Rolling Stones or the Who, they probably.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but the Rolling Stones and the Who and even Leonard Skinner, they're going to look at you and go, "What the fuck is the matter with you?"
Yeah.
With that attitude, I swear to God. I mean, I know Skinner's got this reputation as a redneck, and kind of deservedly so after the original guys died. But if you go back and listen to their lyrics, they were sneaky, like civil rights guys. They just, you had to listen for it, but it was most definitely there. I just don't get it. It's like, fuck, it's good entertainment. Who gives a shit after that? What the fuck difference is it?
It's like all the people, Willie Nelson fans, like wanting to cancel Willie Nelson after he like came out I think he was like all about, he was like doing a Black Lives Matter thing, and they're like, oh, Willie Nelson. It's like, oh, Willie Nelson, the same guy who can outsmoke Snoop Dogg and is like the most incredibly one of the most liberal singers.
Yeah, did they miss his appearances at Farm Aid for like the last 40 fucking years? I mean, come on.
We're getting really into the weeds here.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, the halftime show was cool. I enjoyed it, and fuck,
very good.
I don't like it. So, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Everybody take a drink. We'll reset.
Let's talk about and embrace one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. And our dear friend of the show, Vernon Hargreaves, having his Super Bowl moment. Not dressed, healthy scratch.
What is this guy doing?
In the middle of a game, like after a decisive turnover, this dumbass NFL veteran, been around for 6-7 years now, decides that his team in the biggest game perhaps in the franchise's history is going to run out onto the field in street clothes to celebrate in a play that he had nothing to do with. That he, in fact, they're paying him not to participate in this game. And he decides to show them up by throwing his towel around and celebrating. Like, can you imagine if they fucking won?
Watching, you're going, who the fuck is the guy in the t-shirt?
Right, t-shirt and shorts out there on the field. It's like there were people on the board thought it was a fan that had gotten loose.
I mean, if that fucking guy, if they won the game, can you imagine? Like, you have to reluctantly, like they're going around handing the trophy around, and then they get to Vernon, and it's like, fuck you don't get to touch this trophy, dude. But like, now that they've lost, I imagine on the journey back, getting on the plane, private jets or whatever, they're like, you can fucking find your own way home. You stupid.
Oh, you're anticipating he was allowed near the airport. I think he got. I think he got Lane Kiffin and just got left there.
He's hanging on to the side of the plane along with Antonio Brown.
Yeah, he's hitchhiking somewhere. He's probably like halfway between LA and Vegas right now, hitchhiking, I would guess. Yeah, that was I think we came up with the perfect answer to that though. A penalty box, one in each corner or one in each end zone. And when a dipshit guy does a thing like that, he has to go sit in there with a dunce cap on, and then the fans can yell at him and throw garbage at him and for like 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. Wow.
Well, because like the interception happens and they go to commercial. And then all of a sudden, the Bengals are like 15 yards back. It's like, wait, what the hell happened? And then they eventually show the replay, and it's like, what is he doing?
And every point, every penalty matters. Like, this game it's a game of fucking inches and it's small decisions. And this dude, this nobody, a bust, a first round bust, thinks it's, you know what? The smart
they need me out there.
Yeah, I need to be out there with my boys to like just to be. I gotta be on TV.
But you know what, Vernon? You would be out there if you weren't a clusterfuck. So
was he a practice squad guy or is he just an inactive?
I think he was just a healthy scratch. I think that. As far as I know, feel free to correct me.
You said, they were literally looking him up. They were literally paying him not to play. Yeah, great, good job, Vernon. Way to go.
I don't think he was hurt. But
he sure didn't act like it.
He's been nursing an ankle injury since the season finale against the Browns.
Oh, well.
He was inactive for a third straight game on Sunday.
Yeah,
so like most things, it's the Browns' fault, as it usually always is.
So this motherfucker,
but he's got the hoodie and sandals and the towel. And...
So wait, you're telling me he's nursing an ankle injury, but did you see him hop, skip, and jumping? And he was athletic as fuck out there. You imagine the coaches looking at him. It's like,
you son of a bitch.
You just fucked us. We got a crucial turnover, and you're supposed to be hurt. How's that ankle going, Vernon? God damn! Just what a dumb man. Just dumb as hell.
There he is. Here, I got to share this. Let me see if I can find.
I'm trying to look at his teammates to see if how any of them react to him.
They're ignoring him.
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
They're just ignoring him. Like, just a fucking imbecile. And he's out there jumping, landing on his feet, both feet. And oh god damn.
By the way, speaking of that clip, just because I've loved this every time I've seen the Bengals this year. They have a guy on their team whose last name is Sample. And so when I see a jersey with the name Sample on it, I think it's just like a prototype jersey.
saw somebody on Twitter earlier. I really
Is this
enjoyed
him playing? There he is. There he goes. There's our guy. Look at
landing
this.
on both feet, no pain, no, just having a great old time. Everyone's ignoring him. Nobody gives a fuck about him.
But yeah, that's a good point. You know, you got to think he's going back to the fucking sidelines, and the coaches are going. So ankle still hurts, huh?
I want to know if he was even on the sideline for the second half. Like, if I was the coach and I saw that shit, I'd be like, you are going back inside. Like, we're not dealing with you today. You can go home if you like.
By the way, the sample criticisms I saw was they called it a pilgrim ass last name. And I thought that was
that's a weird insult.
I saw Goody Proctor and John Sample with the devil.
A pilgrim ass last. Jesus.
What a fucking imbecile. And like I said, after that moment, like I was not really rooting for either team to win. I was just hoping to be entertained. But after Vernon Hargreaves' dumbass came out there, I was like, fuck the Bengals. I'm sorry. Like,
he was drafted in the first round in 2016, right? Number 11 overall.
Really?
By the Bucks. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah, that was pretty. That was a pretty head up your ass moment right there.
He played 3.5 seasons with the Bucks, 1.5 seasons with parts of 3 seasons with the Texans, and then joined Cincinnati off waivers this season.
And guess where he's going to be ending this season?
Oh, this has already been put onto his Wikipedia page. Under Cincinnati Bengals, it says, on November 4th, he was claimed off waivers by the Bengals. Hargreaves was penalized 15 yards for running onto the field in Super Bowl 56, despite being inactive for the game.
And he's going to finish this season where he started, on waivers. Wow. Well, you never know. They might cut him some slack, but I mean, what the penalty means in the game. I mean, you can't tell. You can't say, well, this or that may have happened, but 15 yards is 15 yards, man. But speaking of that,
in six seasons as a first round drafted cornerback in the NFL, again, a number 11 overall, he has 4 interceptions.
So,
one every season and a
fair
half.
To say bust?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It's not too bold, yeah.
No, not too bold.
What were you saying, Greg? You're starting on
a. Speaking of weird penalties, okay. Now, I didn't really dig to try to find a full replay of this, but I'm pretty sure Aaron Donald took his helmet off on the field after that last play on 4th down, and that, folks, is a 15-yard penalty, and
that'd be a dead ball foul. Wouldn't matter.
Oh, okay.
It'd be after the 4th down.
What happened to the Browns with that idiot Dwayne Rudd lost the game for him.
Yeah, that happened to the Bucks when they played the Rams.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So so did they get called for it?
No.
Oh,
no. Right. I mean, he could have been, but that wasn't the as time ran out. But in theory, he could have been called for it. It wouldn't matter because it was dead ball foul. Rams would still get the ball.
Because now that you mention it, when the happened to the Browns, it was like on 2nd down.
Yeah.
So it was
4th down would have been completed. The turnover on downs would have already been assessed.
All right, never mind.
Yeah,
I was ready to go full conspiracy theory here, but never mind.
Well, plus
I'll go get back in line with the guys that won't watch the black guys on rap or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, by that time the Bengals had already covered the spread, so the officiating was over for the day.
Right, exactly. They were done.
Lock it up.
And that was that. Yeah,
lock it up, boys.
Pack it up. We're going home.
Another thing, by the way, this has kind of something to do with commercials. The NFL, for all its concerns with taunting and the image of the game, we're making. We don't want to set a bad example for young people.
Even though anyone who's ever played a game of Madden online against children will tell you that battle's long lost.
Right,
those kids are horrible.
But then they have they blatantly just shellac us with advertisements for alcohol and gambling just out the ass for 3.5 hours while spending all season just tutting their players for
you got beer commercials. All I saw was crypto and electric cars.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the 2 things that I took away from the Super Bowl were I gotta get Bitcoin and I gotta get an electric car.
Well, there were seltzers. There's whatever Bud
Yeah,
Next or
well,
whatever.
There was a Clydesdale that broke its ankle or something. I guess that was a beer commercial, basically.
The seltzer thing is so the seltzer thing's hilarious because that fad died 3 years ago. Like,
I don't know. I was
who the fuck
intrigued.
is drinking seltzer anymore?
No,
There's
there's
by the
there's a
Coca-Cola
lot of people.
flavored one. Yeah.
I trust me, I know plenty of people that drink seltzer. It just we haven't had a normal couple summers for people to enjoy them outside.
That's fair enough.
So maybe you haven't noticed. That's all.
What? So did any of the commercials like really land with you guys?
I see. I had this thing with a couple of them that I was like, oh, this is like the one that I liked the most is either the Sopranos one, with where it's recreating the intro, or the Curb Your Enthusiasm one. And my problem with both of those was that, oh, I'm really enjoying this. What could this be for? This is very interesting. Oh, this is a thing I like. Larry David's being funny. There's Meadow Soprano driving a big SUV like her dad. Oh, this is neat. Oh, it's for crypto or an electric car.
Yeah.
Every time that was like, oh, this is cool. Oh, god damn it. Like that's where I stood on most of them.
Who was it? Anna Kendrick did the Gary brought it up here. The Rocket Mortgage Barbie Dreamhouse.
The Rocket Mortgage one was pretty clever. I like that one.
Yeah, that one happened as I was walking to the bathroom. I didn't take that one in.
It's just it used to be you could get some commercials and 10, 15 years ago, whatever, where they would really, it was like an art form. And I think it still is an art form, but I also think that we've reached a point where there's only so far you can go with a TV commercial as far as being funny or innovative.
I'll say this. I think
Levy as a superhero is kind of funny, but
again, another electric car.
Was it?
I've thought the last few years in commercials have been kind of lackluster. I thought this year was probably the best one. It's probably the best year we've had in a while.
I agree with that.
The downside, of course, is, as Zach pointed out, that it's like so many of them were for crypto or electric cars. And I'm gonna say this as far as electric cars go. Electric cars probably need to happen to stave off societal collapse. So I don't particularly mind the hard sell so much. But crypto is trash, and these companies should feel bad.
Do you guys even understand crypto? I mean, I know I'm old.
I've tried to.
Horrible combination. I don't get it.
I've tried to read and watch some videos and try to understand, because not that I would want to get into it, but just I need to understand if this is something I truly need to understand, and I don't understand if I need to understand or not.
I've got a friend who dived hard, hard into crypto, and the last time I saw him, he was trying to explain it to me, and he's like, "No, this is my portfolio, my wallet, and this is these are all the currencies I invest in." And I'm like, "Well, I don't really know much about this, but all of your graphs are going down. Is that a good thing?"
Doesn't it take the total energy output of Liechtenstein to mine Bitcoin or whatever?
It's horrible for the environment.
Which is hilarious that on one hand,
which I also don't understand. How are you mining? How are you mining ones and zeros? How does that? That is the part where it just loses me, because what the hell is it?
The computing power it takes to do all this bullshit is very bad for the environment. Which is hilarious that we've got on one hand, buy an electric car, to save the environment. Also buy crypto, because
buy your electric car with crypto
or whatever is gonna, kill a small part of the rainforest.
Wait a minute. So, okay. And again, I'm very, very, I don't have the first fucking clue how this stuff works. Is it, you say mining for Bitcoin? You mean
there's literally
digging holes in the ground and trying to create this?
No, they're literally people have created these server farms, and they're these computers that all they do is just cycle numbers to create the blockchain to make it secure and whatever the fuck. And so they do this, and by creating more blockchain, they create more currency for people to buy. I think.
Let me ask you a question. Quick question.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
Quick question here. I walk into the Guitar Center with my Bitcoin account. And I say, I want the Gibson Les Paul hanging on the wall there. They're going to go, okay, you can have it.
In El Salvador, yes.
but not in Cleveland.
The president of El Salvador is like live tweeting him tossing the country's treasury away, buying Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender within the last year.
I know that some businesses have actually
some businesses,
some in the U.S. are using or allowing it. But my question is, I really, other than like something that somebody just claimed, is no, Alex, we're not even going to try that.
I can try to explain NFTs.
I've watched like 3 NFT videos.
We can't explain anything anyway. What the hell is she talking about?
My real thing that I need explained to me about NFTs is why are they all just ugly apes? Why can they not be something cool?
Mike, you have 10 seconds to explain NFTs. Go.
Okay, this is very non-PG, but here we go. An NFT is like you have a wife, and and everyone in the neighborhood is drilling her constantly, but you have the marriage certificate. That's an NFT.
That's right. Well done, Michael. I got to say that actually makes perfect sense.
The best comparison for NFTs I was told about was like a Pokemon card, a rare Pokemon card. Basically, it is it's a URL. That's all it is. You get a URL that's minted, quote unquote, in via blockchain. And so like the image of like an ape, for example, the stupid ape cartoon, that is like you can obviously copy and paste and share that image. But you have a specific URL to that image that is yours, and apparently has an agreed upon value. It's all money laundering. That's all it is. It's money laundering.
Like,
it's like the art trade, right?
Yes,
is basically.
Well, no, it's not even like
you set the value
though.
of a painting.
It's not even like the art trade though, because it's like, okay, let's take a famous painting, Mona Lisa. All right, obviously, yes, anyone can go on to Wikipedia or Google and find a copy of the picture of the Mona Lisa and save it to their computer. But at the end of the day, there is an actual physical painting called the Mona Lisa that Leonardo da Vinci painted that someone owns as a physical object. Right. So NFTs are kind of like that, only without the physical object. So
okay, let me try this. All right, like say that I put together the greatest meme of all time. All right. And I put it out there, but the original file I have, would that be the NFT part of this? Like I have no. So
you would have to talk to somebody who is into blockchain, who can mint your image, and then that image would be given a like evergreen URL that would be like the whatever. That's like the meat of what's actually got value.
I guess the way to akin it to something like that we're kind of talking about here, Greg. Say you have you buy a pack of baseball cards,
okay,
right? And you get look, I've got a rookie Mike Trout,
okay,
and you have to send it to like the PSA people to mint it and like grade it and give it an ID number and like this is one of this thing that we have in our system. It's like that.
Why would I want to do that?
At the end of the day, though, there is a physical Mike Trout rookie card that Greg owns.
Yeah.
Is any of this regulated?
No.
See, that's the thing. It's the wild fucking West, and there's already been a few amazing stories about people who have like laundered just millions and millions of dollars and then just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Do you guys know how NFTs started?
No.
Do you know this origin story? Because I had a friend who asked me about this, and I actually looked into it. There is so basically some schmuck on Twitter posted some pixel art that he made in what looks like Microsoft Paint, and was like, basically he was trying to do a social experiment. He's like, hey, this is my pixel art of this robot man. It's very valuable to me. I wouldn't sell it for anyone, for anything. And people on Twitter start being like, I'll pay you like $90,000 for it or whatever. Wow. And in time, like eventually he quote unquote sold the image to somebody and like minted it via a blockchain. So it'd be like, here is like the evergreen proof of your ownership of this image, and NFTs were born.
Why would you do that? What you have nothing.
Because people are dumb.
Well, yeah, but so the main takeaway from this is that it is unregulated, and it's a way for people who already have incredible amounts of disposable income to further their disposable income by laundering it through art that has no real covenants, or providence. But the funny thing is, with a lot of this blockchain stuff, is that we're totally going to be talking about this in like 15 or 20 years, and it's going to be like Pet Rocks or something, to where so many people were ripped off and ruined from this shit.
Yeah, actually, you know how many fucking rubes are going to walk into this with like 10 grand and walk out of it going, I've got this, and
I've got a URL of a monkey wearing sunglasses,
but the thing is, though, part of what makes it legal is that the exchanges are all done in Bitcoin. So, and again, that just has an agreed upon value. So there's no real physical assets being exchanged at all. It's all digital. So if some but
you still got to pay, but there's still at some point there were real actual dollars get involved in this.
Yes,
tangentially, yes. I mean, but at the same time, like it's not there's no physical asset. Like you've got you've got is sort of a mutually agreed upon set of like links and time.
The way that I saw one video say it is like the way if you really want to get granular about it, what does a dollar bill in your pocket, what is that actually worth? The reason it's worth anything is because we all agree and have trusted in the institutions of banks and treasuries and whatever.
Yeah, but you know what?
This is worth money. But what the idea of these people is, in the future, there will be enough trust and just understanding built about it that they would be considered legal tender, that you could say, yes, I'm exchanging this.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the
50 Bitcoin.
Here's the thing. You can call me a fucking narc or a shill for the government if you want. I have more confidence in banks and, yes, the government than I do for Joe Bob Fuckstick mining, blockchain.
Because that's the other thing with it, is that the idea with all these things is to take out the middlemen of governments or banks or whatever, and it would be peer-to-peer regulated. Which is
because peer regulation always works. Ask any teacher who's ever put his kids on the honor system how well that has worked out long term.
I'm not the biggest fan of government intervention, but there are certainly and arguably places where it needs to be involved, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is one of them.
Well, the crazy thing about NFTs, the absolute craziest thing, is again, we've used analogies like a baseball card or the Mona Lisa, and again, you can physically own those things. What's crazy about this is there is no physical ownership. So at the end of the day, you pay however many tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to own an NFT, to own an image. And yes, you have the blockchain generated URL that gives you ownership of that image. But guess what? I can just search for that image on Google. I can save it to my computer. I can upload it to my Imager. I can post it wherever the fuck I want. And no, I don't own the certificate from the URL. But you know what? That doesn't fucking matter because I've got the same goddamn JPEG you do.
You know what this kind of reminds me of a little bit? And I'm probably a little off base with this, but it's when you see you'd be watching TV late at night and one of those, we sell gold because the dollar's going to drop out and we'll sell gold. It's like, all right, here's my question. If the gold's so fucking valuable and the dollar isn't, why are you selling the gold for dollars?
For dollars.
Well, the gold,
seriously.
Well, gold is also a limited resource. Like we pretty much have mined all the gold that there is to mine ever. And it's got at least it has a physical I quantifiable amount to it.
I understand. But it's also one of those things that can you take a gold bar to the grocery store? And
well, that's my thing.
Why we have paper money? I mean,
that's what I mean. It's like so you're telling me that my dollar.
The reason we went off the gold standard, by the way, I know the conspiracy theorists like to, they freak out over the fact that as a society we abandoned the gold standard, but we abandoned it for a good reason, guys. Come on. I did.
Anyway, again, guys, between the rap conversation and this blockchain thing, peak podcasting for white people right now. We're doing
absolutely.
We're doing our jobs.
A classic bass left turn into the fucking ocean too.
I do just want to say one more thing about this. This cryptocurrency NFT shit that we saw during the Super Bowl. I saw this elsewhere on the internets. This is like this year's commercial, offering was pretty much a repeat of the 2000 Super Bowls commercials, where it's like
the
height of the
.com,
palm,
yeah.
palm.
Sure.
Like, all of these companies are going to be out of business in 2 years.
I'm with the Indians. It's going to be Pet
But-
Rocks. It's going to be Pet Rocks again.
But there will be one cryptocurrency guy that rises above the rest and buys the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh my god!
Anyway, yeah, well, Gary makes a good point. He's like, I thought this was called basically a sports show. Well, you missed the basically part there,
Yeah,
Gary.
we're
we put
basically-
basically in the name so we can
And come on,
occasionally
man,
do
that
this.
We
was
have
a
the
classic.
leeway.
That was a classic Bass left turn right down a rabbit hole. It was as good as
Not, okay, so but I mean, speaking of sports and Los Angeles and crypto, how are you feeling about the Staples Center being renamed, Zach?
Oh, it's terrible.
Hey,
Like,
you know
just
what? While we're talking,
Terrible.
while we're back in LA, that stadium is fucking amazing, man.
It really is.
I
It
will-
really is.
Yeah.
I will say this. You know what? You want to know that one of the biggest indictments is about crypto is that when Crypto.com paid for the naming rights to the Staples Center, I'm pretty sure they didn't pay in crypto.
No, it's like the gold thing. Your
Mhm.
dollars are worthless. You need gold. I will give you gold for your dollars, which are worthless. It's like, no, the dollars are still worth something. You're just making money off the gold. It's that simple. There's nothing else going on. You're not saving me so I can plant seeds or whatever when the fucking apocalypse happens. No, you just want my money. And you've got this gold that's going at a pretty high price right now. So anyway,
God, if the apocalypse happens, I hope it's the Moonfall apocalypse. That seems
My-
pretty sweet.
The
which
other
is a total prank, by the way. But anyway, I read that
We're gonna mine the moon for crypto. Just watch.
Oh, the creepiest commercial. Yeah. Michael Walker brings up a good point. The creepiest commercial, the Meta commercial with the with the Chuck E. Cheese robot.
That's just 1/2 degree off of the cryptocurrency bullshit. Is the metaverse like? Please stop this.
Yeah.
Please
Well,
stop.
It's losing
Dude, you know,
billions of dollars.
there are people lining up to walk into that fucking metaverse and never come back. If they can figure out a way,
Isn't this how Ready Player One started?
more or less. But
Yeah.
if they can figure out a way to like mainline food straight into their veins and shit, they're not coming out of there. They're not. That's it. They're done.
That might be a solution to the MAGA problem, actually. Like, let's stick you in the metaverse where virtual Donald Trump will always be president, and you'll be fine.
Fine by me.
They will eventually come up with some way for people to plug themselves in, like the pods in the Matrix. That's the irony. The irony of the Matrix is that like people were enslaved in their like goo pods with all the tubes and stuff.
Yeah.
People will volunteer in droves to get into their goo pods as long as it attaches to their genitalia and masturbates them forever. Like they'll just be in some.
I mean, the sad thing about that, the Matrix, it was like this was a fate that befell humanity at the hands of evil robots. It's like, no, we'll just do that to ourselves.
Yeah, fuck, walk right in.
They got the lore. They got the lore backwards. People just were like, "Yes, plug me into my goo pod. That'll just fuck me forever until I'm dead. Fuck me to death." Like that's what they want. But that, speaking of which,
Why do I sign up for that?
that's what I mean. But speaking of which, like I was in hysterics last night when so that one Jagoff who posted about the halftime show. And the comment of the comment of the Foghorn Leghorn, the sexy Foghorn Leghorn, man. I sat there and my wife was like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, I just like that. Some guy saw this. Some guy saw that tweet, and his first response was to go right to a picture that he had on his phone of Foghorn Leghorn squatting all sexy and just like I don't know. I just love the internet sometimes, man. It's a wild place.
It's a great,
Well, I don't know. It's people like that who, people like that always elicit the best responses on Twitter. It's always gold.
Yeah. Well,
all right. Anyway, so we tried to reel it back in, Gary, but it just didn't work out.
We tried. Look, no, we're all gonna get into our metaverse goo pods and join us next week in the metaverse. That's where we're going to broadcast the show from.
it's already begun.
It has to be fucking hilarious. I think
There was some I watched something earlier where there's you can buy, or it's like an investment tier where you can you get a metaverse girlfriend, and depending on the pay tier,
Right.
yeah, depending on the pay tier, she removes clothing. So when you get to the highest tier,
yeah.
I mean, there's an option to get a fake girlfriend who doesn't remove her clothing. Like,
yeah, she's the entry level model, Mike.
oh my God,
$4.99 a month.
who's buying that? God,
It's the
Crypto
true
bros, Mike. Crypto bros. Come on.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you're that much of a degen to just straight up spend your Bitcoin on a metaverse fake, like, virtual girlfriend, like, I'm pretty sure the only reason you'd do that would be for the masturbation. And
it's funny. It's funny that you brought up like something like Ready Player One, Mike, because this is like a weird thought process of it. But we see all these movies about like dystopian futures and the things we don't want to see happen, like a Ready Player One or like the metaverse or like crypto, or we see like these are all bad things we don't want them to happen. But yet there are people out there in this world that are like trying to make that stuff happen. It's like, did you not see the fictional version? What do you think you're going to change with the sentient robots or the metaverse? Or, come on,
Zach, is that we're not forced into it. We volunteer for it. That's the difference. Come on.
Right. Yeah, we're going to make it better.
Yeah. It would be much better if you just leave us to our own devices.
Because that's what Ready Player One needed was Mark Zuckerberg. That'll make it all better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is the true end of humanity. Not the end of humanity, but this like stage of humanity is not so much like, oh, the robots are going to destroy us. It's that we will want to be like plugged in and just totally devoid of any sort of thought. Like, I mean, honest to God, if a robot showed up at your house and said, I will give you 100 years of warm sleep and you'll dream about just whatever the fuck you want, and it'll be awesome. You won't have any problems. You don't pay for anything ever again. There's gonna be a lot of people that'll be like, that sounds pretty good. I'll just kind of go into my coma and
more
whatever.
More people than you think would absolutely grab that and go.
See, this is why like 1% of my brain, and god damn it, the way society is going, it's tugging at that to increase that percentage, is like full on anarcho primitivism. We need to tear it all down because like it's gone too far.
I agree with that too. I agree with all of it. It's just anyway. So back to the Super Bowl.
Zach is a Super Bowl champion.
They aired the fucking metaverse goo pod commercial during the Super Bowl, Greg.
I know.
Hey, by the way, I need to ask. Speaking of commercials, this isn't gonna turn into some weird sex thing, I hope. But there's the one commercial that had like little CG guys of like it had Walter Payton and Deion Sanders.
Yeah. It was like an NFL commercial,
right?
Yeah, but like I thought it was like a game, but then it wasn't. It was just like an NFL commercial for itself, right?
No, I saw. Yeah, every year the NFL has that commercial like right before halftime or going into halftime. That's again the NFL commercial. I said this to the people in the room. I'm like, oh, hey, for you people watching this football game, you like football? Well, we're it. It's just like, okay. I actually saw an interesting, like one of those YouTube pre-rolls that was behind the scenes of this ad, which by the way also ruins the majority of all the Super Bowl ads nowadays, is that I've seen them for the week leading up to it on YouTube.
I agree.
That it was like they actually made puppets of all those guys, and so those are actually real puppets that they've CGI'd.
Really?
Well, the thing that confused me and why I thought it was a game, and I think this is what you were getting at, Andy, is because like all the NFL players were CGI, like little cartoon representations of NFL players. So you'd think this is some sort of like
no, but I get they were clay puppets. They were real, but yeah, they looked exactly like Fortnite models to most people.
I was all excited. I'm like, this could be a badass game, and then I'm like,
I thought it was going to be some like mobile game.
Yeah, I was thinking like a video game that had gotten the NFL license for all the old, not the current players, but like Peyton Manning, Walter Payton. I guess Devontae Adams was in it too, and so was Lamar. But you know what I mean? I thought it was going to be like this cool, I don't know, like NFL Blitz, except a new version or something. But no.
Yeah.
I this being the uniform nerd that I am, I was going like Peyton Manning should be wearing a Broncos uniform, not a Colts uniform. That was the last team we saw him with.
I did like that the Dolphins players are wearing throwbacks. That was pretty cool, I think.
Well, they know. Everyone knows.
Everyone knows. You're right. Yeah.
But what did you guys think of the bowling commercials?
Oh, with Peyton Manning?
Well, that one was cool. Yeah, that was
a lot. Yeah.
That was Michelob Light, I believe.
Yeah.
Michelob Ultra.
Explain that one to me. I recognized Peyton Manning, but who the hell was? And then I guess Steve.
They were all pro athletes except for Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, and at the end, Serena Williams walks in, like basically, like, you know, okay, you guys are all fine, but I'm here now. I mean, basically the message was Michelob Ultra. There was no plot to it or anything. It was just like,
what was the bowling?
Drink Michelob Ultra.
What was it called? The Superior Bowl or something?
Yeah, Superior Bowl. Yeah, was the name of the bowling alley. Yeah,
and the other commercial, which I think I have to give the award for worst commercial again. You know, the Metaverse Goo Pod commercial was just really depressing. But the one that I think was like the worst was the Lay's commercial.
Oh, Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd.
Yeah, that one I just tried too hard.
It could have been good until they brought the monster chick in, and it was like, no, this is not where the funny went with this bit. You know,
it's so fascinating. I watched the same game as you guys, but I was in such a different headspace that I missed at least half the things we're talking about.
Oh yeah, because a lot of stuff aired during the horrible hour of bad football, but yeah, I thought the Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen thing had real potential, but it didn't deliver. It started out cool. You're like, remember when we did this? He goes, I've never seen that. He goes, I don't watch your movie. He goes, not even the ones you're in. I thought was funny. It had some moments, but they really just dropped the ball with it. I agree, Mike. I just forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. Oh yeah, right. No, I just remembered again. Sorry. We got a local ad spot here in Florida for Scientology, so that was fun. Of course you did. You're like right across the bay from Clearwater. Of course you got Scientology.
Normally we get one in LA too, but if it happened, I didn't see it.
What did you guys think of, like, not the 15-hour pregame show, but when they actually started to open the Super Bowl? Like, I think it was like 6 or 5:30, and they had the Halle Berry bit and the all that stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought they did a nice job with that. I
thought it was pretty good. Again, like it peaked at weirdness with like the kickoff about to happen, and The Rock is just there.
Yeah, that was. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I thought it was like
wasn't even like promoting anything. He was just being The Rock.
Yeah. I thought that maybe they'd get the timing off, and the teams on the field are like standing around looking at each other like, what's happening?
I thought they were doing something where, like, I don't know, is this going to be an XFL thing? Is the NFL going to partner with them as like a minor league? Like, is it going to be some sort of affiliate, situation? But no, he dressed up like a cranberry and kind of just did his rock shtick and then left.
Yeah, while they were waiting to kick off.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they just gotten behind or schedule was off, but I guess that was planned. And the players are all I thought you couldn't really kind of see them.
Standing around awkwardly on the field waiting to start the game.
Standing around like going, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Standing around awkwardly is like most of pro football.
Yeah, we just happened to see it because they weren't at commercial break this time.
No, we got to watch the Metaverse commercial instead. So
yeah.
Kudos to NBC, by the way. I didn't see all this clip, but I'm going to watch it later tonight or tomorrow. They basically, for 15 to 20 minutes, just reamed the NFL for their hypocrisy about race and head coaches. Talking about how it was 10 years, or no, it was longer than that. However many years it was since Lovie Smith and Tony Dungy were two black head coaches facing off. And I just thought it was really cool. Sorry?
Was that 06?
Yeah, it was whatever, maybe 16 years ago. God damn. That they basically said, this is a problem, and they're hosting the Super Bowl, and they're using that time to basically tell the NFL, like, you look like shit because of this.
They do look like shit.
And I just thought that was pretty neat.
Unless you're the guys that are like sitting out in the car going, I'm not going to watch the halftime show. Everybody else can see this for what it is. And I just find it ridiculous. Is Eric the enemy? I mean, now the season's over. Has he gotten a job anywhere yet?
Nope.
He interviewed again. Was like interviewed with the Saints for like 9 hours, and then they hired their defensive coordinator.
Which is who?
Williams? Can't remember the guy's name. He was the interim coach while Sean Payton was suspended.
Oh, Greg Williams?
Greg Williams, yeah.
They hired Greg fucking Williams?
Let me double check.
No, it was not Greg Williams.
It was not. What team are you talking about?
Saints.
No, the Saints hired
Dennis
the defensive
Allen.
coordinator. Yeah, but not Greg Williams.
Yeah, he's been gone a while.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Sorry, yeah, Dennis Allen. So.
Oh, okay. I was like, because I think Greg Williams is like, God damn, they're like, not only do they not give a fuck, they're like flaunting it now.
My bad. Yeah, my bad.
But Chaos Blast brings up a good question. What do we think about this being the possibly the last Super Bowl by Al Michaels for Al Michaels.
I
well,
mean,
he hasn't officially left NBC, right? The idea is that he's going to go to Amazon, and Mike Tirico would then, like, NBC's trying to guide Al Michaels out so Mike Tirico can come in because they hired him too early and have like a Conan Jay Leno situation on their hands again.
yeah, that's not going to work out well. Plus, Mike Tirico's a toad. I mean, I say that from personal experience. He's very good, but he's not the greatest person. I'll just say that.
I mean, you're not going to replace Al Michaels.
No,
You're just not.
No.
I'll say this about Al Michaels. I think he's, legendary sportscaster. If this is the last Super Bowl that he does, I'm going to be sad to see him go. But why couldn't this be the last Super Bowl for Chris Collinsworth? Fuck that guy.
And how the fuck? First, I got 2 questions about Chris Collinsworth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Actually, they both pertain to his kid. How did his kid get that job, and how did his kid end up being exactly fucking like him?
Now, I have that problem every time I watch Sunday Night Football. It's just like I'm sure Jack Collinsworth got a job somewhere before getting this one, but because his dad is on the broadcast, and again, like you said, he talks exactly like him. I can't help but think that Chris talked to somebody at NBC and said, "Hey, why don't you hire my kid? He's doing a sports journalism thing." Right. Of course, like not beyond the pale, but it's just like there's got to be somebody other than Jack Collinsworth that exists for this job, right?
I mean, it's pure nepotism.
Not only that, but I mean, like I said, I take after my dad a great deal. I don't sound like him. I don't act. I mean, I act like him a little bit, but not like to the point where you go, "Well, is that Greg or is that his dad?"
Now here's a guy that looks exactly like his dad.
Right. Now, Al,
I don't know if you.
I mean,
here's a guy. He just likes to be on the field.
I don't mind Chris Collinsworth at all. I have no use for broke ass little kid version Chris Collinsworth.
I can't stand Chris Collinsworth at all, and
I don't mind him, but his son, it's like, dude, really, either find your own fucking act or go home. Simple.
I mean, I don't like Chris Collinsworth, and quite frankly, he was getting on my nerves again last night. It's like, yes, we get it. OBJ is out. The Rams have to rely on Cooper Kupp. I understand, Chris. Shut up, please.
But again, I think that's a lot of stuff being put on Collinsworth that is from his producer. They're trying to push a narrative, and I'm sure they're in Chris's ear like, "Hey, man, you got to talk about OBJ. We got a bunch of sideline shots of him in street clothes. Oh, there's OBJ, man. He just wants to get in the game, and boy, you got to feel bad for him. He was making such a difference earlier and all this crap."
Yeah. How much nepotism is going on? They've got Jack Collinsworth. They've got Chris Sims is on that show, right?
Yeah.
How many other fucking kids are working there? Jesus Christ! Can you be original?
The thing that I think we all need to remember too in this case is something. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Press Box podcast on the Ringer.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've yet to listen to it.
Yeah, they do media in general, but with some focus on sports media. And they did like an instant reaction to the Super Bowl broadcast last night, and I listened to it, and they made the point that for people that watch the NFL week in and week out, multiple games every weekend like we do, the Super Bowl broadcast is not for us.
No.
It is for the general public that hasn't watched a football game all year. So sometimes they have to be a little reductive or repetitive. And I think any sort of criticism like that against Collinsworth or the broadcast itself, I think is because of that. Not because of their ability.
Maybe it's time. Like, I don't know who has the game next year, but maybe it's time to do the ESPN.
I believe it's CBS.
Okay, take CBS Sports, and we do the super broadcast like ESPN does with national championship games. We go, okay, you neophytes, you guys want to listen, to the you don't know fuck all about football. Here's this. Here's the Nickelodeon feed for you.
I was gonna say, if CBS has a Super Bowl next year, Nickelodeon Super Bowl, let's go.
Right. So, but you know what I mean? I mean, I think you could fix that, and I understand. You get this is like New Year's Eve all over again. It's like you get people that have no fucking idea how to drink.
Yeah, same idea. Yep.
And you got Super Bowl. We got to go to a Super Bowl party. It's like that's where they like ride around on horses and knock the ball around with mallets, right? It's like no, fuck sick, it's not. But go.
I mean.
Next year's actually on Fox.
But that we need like a foot. Oh, next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so so FS1, FS2, you've got all the room in the world to do like an ESPN megacast.
You know what? you know what? I'd love to watch a Manning cast Super Bowl. Like,
well, I think now that ABC and ESPN like renegotiated, don't they get a Super Bowl now? Aren't they back in the rotation for that?
I don't. Probably, I would imagine. I don't know.
I think they are, but if that's the case, then well, that's weird. Yeah, at some point they did some trading. Like Fox actually has the next 2 Super Bowls for some reason.
Good.
And then NBC, and then it doesn't say. But I thought I read where they were in the. Anyway, if that's the case, where that's right. ABC is part of the rotation now, as I see it. They will certainly have a mega cast when it goes back to ABC. You will certainly get something on ABC. You will get something on ESPN, on ESPN2. They will blow the doors off when they finally get a Super Bowl back in there.
That's the question, though. With college football, it might be easier. I mean, the NFL, they're like weird about everything. So maybe they don't want. I mean, they've got you can get the Jihad Terrorist Network broadcast of the game, but we can't have a mega cast.
I think they've already kind of tested the waters with that by having the Manning cast in the first place.
No, I'm talking about like the NFL in general with the Super Bowl. Not like
I understand. I understand, but I'm saying like ESPN has already kind of tested the waters for the NFL, being like, hey, we have our regular broadcast, but we also have the side broadcast, and they both do well, and people seem to enjoy it. So maybe when they get to that point, because they're not going to get their first one for several years, because the new contract kicks in 2025.
I'm looking
at least 2026 or 27.
I'm looking at the list of broadcasters all the way up to 2034. We've got Fox, CBS, Fox, NBC, ABC's in 2027.
That's
okay, so
5 years down the road, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by then we'll all be in our goo pods, just like
we'll all be in our Matrix goo pods, stimulating our genitals until we all die.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think of the broadcast overall? I mean, other than Jack Collinsworth, who is the only thing that would make him better if his name was just Douche Collinsworth. I'm sorry, but fuck him. He drives me nuts.
No, just call him Chris Collinsworth, and when Chris retires, just bring him in and pretend that nothing's happened.
Just like other Collinsworth or something like that. It's just like, dude, do you realize you're just doing your dad's act? That drives me fucking nuts. It's like you're acting exactly like your dad. You can't do any better than that. Get the fuck out of here. There's a kid from Northwestern or Syracuse or somewhere that will do this job better than you. So fuck off. I don't care what. Your dad played in the NFL. You did not. Simple as that. Or did he? Did his kid play sports or not? Do we know?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Drives me crazy. Nepotism. That's all it is.
I mean, welcome to the NFL.
I mean, at least Chris Sims played at Texas, and he had a few years in the NFL, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
he was a Buccaneer for a minute.
Yeah, a Buck for a minute. Left-handed, if I remember right. I don't know, Mike. I don't ever want to think of your virtual nuts ever again. I don't know, Gary. Don't knock it till you try it. I mean, really. All right. So what? We got any more like NFL? There was what the hell was something else I wanted to bring up about the game and I can't remember. That doesn't matter. I think we covered it somehow.
I don't know. I didn't think it was as bad a game as you did, Greg. I thought it was.
I think it was bad. I just think it was entertaining. I admit. You were wondering who was going to win, and the whole time, so it was fine. But
welcome back. Welcome back, Andy.
Hello.
I just want to say too that Halle Berry, for 56 years old, Jesus, God Almighty. All right, I had to get that out there in the public.
Okay, so here, if you're curious about the Jack Collinsworth,
did he play a sport? Just like watch like videotapes of his dad and going to act like just like this guy does.
No, he said ever since he was in high school, he knew he wanted to follow in his father's footsteps to become a sports broadcaster.
Like literally.
Graduated from Notre Dame in 2017, where he immediately landed a job at ESPN as a features reporter for Sunday NFL Countdown, and then went on to host NFL Live at certain points, and then went from there to NBC. But according to the story I'm reading, Chris Collinsworth didn't want NBC to hire his son.
I'm sure.
I'll buy that.
But
I don't know. I just I think they should do a game together because it would. First off, I have to get high first, but then I want to see them do a game together.
Oh no, they speak far too similarly. That's
what I mean. It'd be great. I want like them, and I want a picture of them in the corner while I'm watching them do this game. I don't know.
No, exactly. They speak exactly alike. That's why I'm saying when Chris Collinsworth finally retires, you don't even need to announce anything. Just roll his son into the booth and just keep on going like nothing's happened.
Like put a little makeup on him, age him up a little bit, and off we go. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's it just drives me nuts. And I'm pretty well. If his dad didn't want him there, that's cool. I don't know that made any difference. Maybe it did. I hope so. But
the quote here says Chris Collinsworth went on Adam Schefter's podcast last year, I guess, and said, "I'm going to be really, really honest with you here. I didn't want him to leave ESPN. NBC executive Sam Flood came to me at the Hall of Fame game at the beginning of the year. He said, I just want you to know that I'm going to make a run at Jack. And he said, don't. And I said, don't do that. He's doing great. He's on ESPN. He's doing all these shows. They really like him. It's outside. So he's not going to hear that I'm his dad. Don't do that. And you know, they I guess NBC just really wanted to hire him, and Chris Collinsworth, I actually don't want him here for.
Well, yeah.
So there is no nepotism claims, but you know.
I mean, NBC. Of course, NBC wanted him because then they could just replace Chris Collinsworth and not admit that they replaced Chris Collinsworth. That's
as somebody that again is in the field, so to speak, to see someone graduate from Notre Dame, immediately get hired at ESPN, and then 3 years later already working on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, that's
a little infuriating.
Well, it doesn't happen. That's if his name was Chris Jollinsworth. Or Jack, like Jack Worth, just no Collins in there. That shit ain't happening. He's out in Cedar Rapids doing the 11 o'clock news with one camera. So
a lot of people have to work their way up and struggle, and other people don't know. People know who your parents are,
and I'm not. Yes, I mean I'm not saying that.
Not to say that he used that to his advantage, but somebody if you say you put your resume in, like, oh, you're you're Chris Collinsworth kid, be like. Yeah. Oh, great. You have the bona fides. People know your name. Get on TV.
I mean, and I'm not saying that like you have to go do one camera work in and Cedar Rapids or wherever the fuck, but you shouldn't be able to just walk out and go, all right, now I'm at ESPN, Al, and and then an NFL, was it NFL Network or NFL Live or whatever?
He was on ESPN, hosted NFL Live, and then went to NBC.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that's not bad for coming straight out of college, considering that Chris Berman didn't get to do that. Al Michaels certainly didn't get to do that. Come on.
Well, it was much different world when they started too, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, it was actually probably a little easier.
Speaking of the broadcast, Super Bowl broadcast, can we talk about how Drew Brees really isn't that great at this whole broadcast
sucks
thing?
Terribly, you mean not great? Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah,
he just has nothing to say is the problem.
And then
he knows how to talk about football. He can diagram a play, great, but he's just a guy that happens to know football. He's not interesting at all.
He does they'll ask him so Drew, do you think that impacted the game any? Yep.
Thanks for that. Like Wild Card Weekend, I think he was calling one of the games, and Mike Tirico was having to pull, trying to drag things. Like, Drew, do you think they did that because of this? Yeah. Well, all right, well said, brother. It's I mean, I never thought I'd see anybody worse at it than Joe Montana, and then I saw Drew Brees. I'm like, okay, it's possible. It happened. They're not very good. And that's not to say he's a bad guy or anything, but man, he is not good at this at all. I mean, I'm sure there's a role for him somewhere. This ain't it. And the new score bug, that's what I want to ask you guys about. What do you think of the new score bug?
I liked it. Yeah. It was clean. It was smaller. It did its job. I think the only thing that I would have said is maybe the play clock was a little small. I found myself looking for it sometimes.
Yeah.
But overall in the broadcast, the one thing they did away with finally, and this in our household here, it is praise that has been left in the dust. When it would get down to third or fourth down, and NBC would turn on the green zone where they would make the space between the line of scrimmage and the first down line a slightly darker shade of green than the rest of the field.
Yeah, you mean for the actual green grass they play on?
Yeah. As if the first down line didn't tell us where we needed to get to. Like, what was that for? Just the stupidest innovation that they put in.
I keep
cycle.
I keep forgetting who's responsible for this, but I really hate the score bug that adds in like the cartoon drawings.
That's Fox.
That's Fox. The cartoon drawings of players whenever they score. It's like, God damn it, really?
Yeah, hopefully whenever Fox gets the Super Bowl again, we can wipe those away and move on to something new. Yeah, no, that again, that's the sentiment in our house about the green zone. It just it made no sense. Like, you think we're stupid enough to not understand what the first down line has been there for 30 fucking years?
Dude,
I don't think any of us understood where to get to.
I worked in TV long enough to tell you that if somebody figures out something that no one else uses, they'll use it just because no one else uses it. It doesn't matter if it's good. It just matters that it's new and no one else does it. That is the God's honest truth. If you find a graphic, you're like, this is cool, and you know what, nobody else uses it, well, fuck, put it on everything. That's just the way it works in television. So I like the score bug. I thought the circle in the middle was a bit too big. You know, like they could have brought that down a little bit because it looked kind of like a speedometer. But I'm not sure. I think if you could find a way to incorporate the logo somehow, like make it turn yellow when there's a flag, or because in NASCAR they do this, like it'll be like the regular NBC logo. When the race is on green, it turns green. There's a caution, it turns yellow, et cetera, et cetera. If you could find a way to incorporate it like that somehow, it might be kind of neat. Maybe a little distracting, but yeah. Did
it not do that?
Maybe it did. I don't know. I was too busy texting with.
I mean, I'm going to rewatch the game here at some point in the next few weeks, so I'll let you know if I notice.
Yeah. Well, final question of the night on the Super Bowl, Zach. So how much have you spent so far on Super Bowl gear? If we can ask. I mean, you don't have to say how much you spent. How much have you bought so far?
Oh, I mean, I bought what I'm going to buy. I bought a couple shirts. I bought a couple shirts online and a hat, and then I made sure to swing by the local Dick's Sporting Goods on my way into work to grab the locker room tee. I got a closer look at the locker room hat. The locker room hat is pure garbage, and I will not be speaking about it again.
Remember when those hats used to be fun?
Yeah, no, this one, it's just like, it's badly designed. It's generic as, like, I know they're supposed to be slightly generic because you got to be able to plug and play a logo on it, but it's just impossibly generic. And it's that new, it's one of those hats that's made completely of that mesh material.
All the way around?
The athletic mesh over the entire top of the brim, over the top of the crown. It's all that, the black athletic mesh. Not great.
No. Well,
but yeah, I put it in our group chat. It's the parade hat, as they're calling it, where it's black and it has the Lombardi trophy on the front that says Super Bowl champs. Another shirt that looks kind of cool says Rams House with confetti, and then another pretty simple one that's blue block letters that says Super Bowl champions with the ram head.
I like that one. The best, I think. Yeah.
And then, man, I'm trying. The unfortunate part about winning Super Bowls with a Sunday game is that the parade ends up on a Wednesday. I would love to go to the parade. Not going to go to the parade. It just
that's too bad. You can't find a way to work it into your job somehow and make it.
No. I mean, I have 100 other things I need to do.
Okay.
You know, take the time to go up there and park and walk and sit there all day, and it's not worth my time to do it. And then it's also a shame that the Disneyland has changed the way that you are able to go to the park. So, like, you used to just be able to go whenever you want. If you're an annual pass holder, now you have to make reservations and the whole thing because of, COVID and whatnot. But had I been able to, I would have tried to maybe go to the Disneyland parade that they held this afternoon, which would have been fun. But
oh
well.
Oh God, Andy's sending us a collage of people who won't be watching the halftime show or who didn't watch the halftime show.
Oh God, yep, there it is.
My God,
they all look like this is like a joke, but it's like these are the people, these are the ones. It's crazy.
What the fuck do you
They all have the same hat, same sunglasses, and they just live their lives this way. It's
I got nothing. You know what? Hey, fuck you. Then you missed out on a good show. Fine, whatever. I don't care. You know, if fuck off. Take a drink, boys. All right, let's wrap it up, fellas. We got a whole lot of time we can fill for looks like the next 8 months at this point. So,
we've got a UFO show that Greg and I did that we're going to be putting out soon.
It'll be out in the next day or two. We've got this and hockey, I guess, and maybe some more Olympic stuff. That's still going on this week, right, Zach?
Yeah, the Olympics go through the end of the week, and
I watched women's curling, China versus the U.S. the other day. It was just so zen-like and perfect. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, curling's been my perfect late night kind of come down over the last week.
My girlfriend's like, when they've got the hammer, and I'm like, going, they've got the what? She's like, they got the hammer this round. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that means. That's like the last at bat, basically.
Yeah, they bat in the bottom of the inning in that game.
Yeah. And she's like, and I'm like going, what's going on here? She's like just like giving me like she's like been following curling her whole life.
Oh man, I could go into so much curling strategy at this point.
I'm just like, you're harshing my buzz here. I don't want to know what's going on. I just want to watch. You know?
Yeah, and Wednesday we'll get USA Canada women's gold medal match for hockey again. So.
And you know what else? I know you guys don't care, but I think there's a few people in our audience that care. This Sunday, guys, Daytona 500 getting underway. So that'll be
boogity, 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 as they say.
Damn straight, yeah. Darryl Waltrip, there you go. And maybe we should address this baseball catastrophe that's playing out in real time before our eyes here. That'll be fun.
What sport are we talking about?
Fuck, who gives a fuck? Baseball.
It's that ball and bat game you're also fond of.
It's the spreadsheet comes
American cricket. You mean?
American Excel. Yeah.
ESPN Plus, by the way, has some random cricket matches occasionally.
Is it more exciting than baseball? It almost has to be.
Oh, Greg, you want to complain about spreadsheets? Alex and I turned on this cricket match, and they put up a graphic that was like explaining what was going on, and it looked like fucking hieroglyphics. It was the wildest thing. I think by the end of it, I figured out how the game works.
You think?
Well, I think it's like baseball, but instead of doing like alternating every inning, basically the away team plays their entire offensive innings, and then they flip, and then the home team plays its entire offensive innings, and then the game is over.
Okay.
Yeah, but some cricket matches can last for like days.
Certain types can last for days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Test match can last for like 2 weeks. Yeah.
I will go, like, if I want to get a baseball fix this year, I don't give a fuck if they come back or not. I'm going to be completely honest about it. And I can't believe all the years that I was like leading the charge on advocating for baseball on the show that I'm at the point where I don't even care. You don't want to play, don't play.
Baseball killing itself with labor issues is nothing new.
No, but killing itself because it's fucking boring. That's kind of a recent development.
Yeah, and we can get into all that.
But I will go watch minor league games because they at least have the mercy of having a pitch clock. So fuck you. Let's take another drink. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up, folks. Zach, congratulations again on your world championship and all that good stuff.
Can I get a ram it in the chat?
Yeah. I'll you know what? I'm recording the show separately. I'll throw a ram it on at the end here. But anyway, so follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, the YouTubes, and wherever fine podcasting is sold. And with that, we're going to call it a night. We'll see you all next week. UFO show's coming up shortly, so stay tuned for that and all the other good stuff. And I guess that's it. Anything else, boys?
We are the champions of the world.
All right. We'll see you next week, folks.
So